And this is where Britain's top commentators speak out on controversial issues without the fear of the cancel culture sweeping the rest of the media. And breaking tonight, a US judge has refused to grant Meghan Markle's request to stop depositions being taken, meaning that she and Prince Harry will be grilled by her sister Samantha Markle's lawyers. But a judge warned the case may be ripe for dismissal before the depositions take place. The legal battle has been brought by friend of the show Samantha, who is challenging claims made in the couple's 2020 biography Finding Freedom and their March 21 toxic tell-all with Oprah Winfrey.
A royal biographer just accused Meghan Markle of crafting a false narrative, and he's got proof. Did Meghan Markle deliberately twist the truth for sympathy, or was she misled herself? Today, we dive deep into secret files, explosive claims, and the one quote that made even royal insiders flinch. What if a royal narrative you believed was built on a lie? According to veteran biographer Tom Bauer, Meghan Markle deliberately distorted the truth to orchestrate sympathy and media sway during and after her royal exit. The claims aren't casual. They're backed by first-hand sources, emails, and contradictions woven into her interviews. If even a portion of his findings hold weight, Meghan's carefully crafted public image wasn't just strategic. It maybe crossed a dangerous line into defamation. Narratives can empower or weaponize. Truth draws its sharpest edge when perception protects it. How does one man manage to rattle royalty, billionaires, and prime ministers?
Samantha is pushing Meghan to make 38 separate admissions, including that neither the late Queen nor King Charles III were racist. Considering Harry would be forced to speak under oath and the couple's demonstrated fondness for, shall we say, stretching the truth, could the single case see Harry caught up in his own web of lies? Well, to answer this and much more, I'm delighted to welcome the world's top royal author. He, of course, published Revenge, Meghan, Harry and the War Between the Windsors, Tom Bauer. So, Tom, this feels like a significant development tonight. What's happening?
Well, if I was Meghan, I'd be undoubtedly very worried tonight. What the judge decided was that Samantha Markle's action for libel, defamation against Meghan, she's, of course, the half-sister of Meghan, has got to go to depositions. The judge did not say the case will be thrown out, only that some of the questions may be withdrawn. But what that really means is that Meghan is going to have to answer all Samantha's questions from her lawyers, whether she lied about Samantha, about Thomas Markle in her notorious interview with Oprah Winfrey. So that's a major breakthrough for Samantha Markle, for Thomas Markle, and for the truth.
So what is Samantha?
Tom Bauer isn't just a biographer. He's an ex-barrister turned forensic storyteller, infamous for exposing powerful figures from Richard Branson to Boris Johnson. What sets him apart? He doesn't ask for permission, and he never fears retaliation. When Bauer says Meghan's misleading the world, he's not seeking clicks. He's challenging institutional PR machines. He's described her case as a masterclass in image manipulation, unlike anything he's ever seen. This isn't tabloid drama. It's investigative firepower aiming at carefully built myth. What if the most explosive royal claim in decades was missing key context?
Trying to get out of this case? Is she trying to prove that Meghan lied about her upbringing?
Well, what the essence of it is that in the interview with Oprah, Meghan claimed that she never even knew Samantha and that she was brought up as a single child. And that Samantha...
Which your book debunks.
And which we know but from Thomas Markle is totally untrue.
In the now infamous Oprah interview, Meghan revealed that a senior royal allegedly questioned her unborn baby's skin tone. But here's where it gets volatile. She never named who, when, or how. Tom Bauer and several palace insiders suggest this vagueness may have been intentional, designed to trigger maximum public outrage without legal liability. Millions took it as proof of institutional racism. Others saw storytelling that shields itself from scrutiny. Emotion without clarity? It creates impact, but distorts accountability.
But what she also claims is that Samantha only called herself Markle when Meghan was engaged to Harry, which Samantha says is a total lie. Interestingly, Samantha also says that Meghan's story about having a Ford Explorer where she could only get in through the boot was also untrue. She goes through a whole load of Meghan's lies. So by July...
Have you ever told the truth in a way that hid something else? That's the principle behind truth layering. a strategy Bauer accuses Meghan of using masterfully. It's when verified facts are wrapped around omission, exaggeration, or selective memory to protect a broader narrative. The result? A story that's technically true, but emotionally engineered. He argues that Meghan didn't outright lie. Instead, she arranged her version of events for maximum sympathy and minimal contradiction.
That is what the judge has said. These depositions, this cross-examination of Meghan will take place for the trial to start in October. So Meghan really has a problem because until today, her lawyers have been saying this is so ridiculous, we refuse to even engage with Samantha Markle. They stonewalled. Now, at the moment, they were going to be forced.
Truth layering doesn't break trust. It bends it until it serves. What if the people who knew you best barely recognized the person in your memoir? Tom Bauer interviewed more than 80 sources for his book, including former childhood friends, co-stars, and associates once close to Meghan. Many say her public story doesn't match private realities. From timeline contradictions to ghosted allies suddenly recast as villains, familiar patterns emerge. Several ex-friends claim they were cut off when their honesty clashed with her narrative. When loyalty fades, truth tends to surface, especially when cameras are watching.
So, I mean, this is a huge development, Tom, because we saw in the case against a British newspaper that Meghan can be tripped up by her lies. Because remember, she said, oh, I had nothing to do with that odd little bloke, Omid Scobie, and his terrible hagiography finding freedom. And then she had to say, oh sorry, Judge, actually, I did know about it, and I did allow my communications officials working at the palace to be involved. So she has a track record of being tripped up.
Well, and she's not going to find...
Can a handwritten letter be both sincere and strategically weaponized? The 2019 lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday centered around Meghan's private letter to her estranged father. She won in court, but Bauer reveals a deeper layer. Meghan allegedly knew the letter could leak and formatted it deliberately, segmenting passages to highlight emotion, while downplaying her own choices. Legal documents later showed she even briefed a staffer on framing. What looked heartfelt may have been litigation-ready.
In America, the same sort of appalling judges as she has helped her here. But the judge said about her outright lie, it was an unfortunate lapse of memory. Yeah. You know, the judges in America aren't so supine, and she's going to find it very tough. And that's going to be very interesting. I mean, her whole attitude ever since Harry's book was published has been fascinating. Her disappearance from view, her silence since last year.
What do you think's going on?
Well, I think she's building up to something very big. There's a very interesting story earlier this week that she was seen having a series of lunches with Gordon Getty, the 89-year-old billionaire oil man.
A private letter written for public eyes isn't expression. It's evidence in disguise. What if a neutral biography was actually a platform for personal PR? Finding Freedom, pitched as an independent account of Meghan and Harry's royal journey, painted them as victims of an outdated institution. But emails released during legal proceedings revealed something explosive.
At the Beverly Hills Hotel, people are wondering what's all that about. Well, clearly she wants money to build her coffers for various things. But, you know, Meghan is a shrewd operator. What happened today in the court is going to upset her plans, but she's defiant. She's determined, in my view, to build a career in America, a political career, and much more. And her lies possibly will now trip her up.
But Tom, aren't things turning quite toxic for her in the US? I mean, we saw last week Oprah Winfrey's sort of unofficial 69th birthday, attended by the Hollywood glitterati, and Meghan, a very noticeable absence. And just like with the Obamas, there's speculation, at the very least, that some of these Hollywood friends are very concerned about the way that Meghan and Harry can't keep their mouths shut and have been sharing private conversations.
Well, I think there's that angle that
Meghan fed background info to the authors through a royal aide. Tom Bauer uses this as proof of narrative control masquerading as journalism. She didn't write it, but she shaped it strategically. When you pull strings backstage, don't claim you weren't in the play. Can charm on camera hide control behind the scenes? Bauer paints Meghan as intensely skilled in managing perception, knowing precisely what to project publicly, while privately controlling access and burning bridges. Several former staff allege she was demanding, strategic, and sometimes even manipulative. It's not illegal to be ambitious. But the contrast between her polished public voice and sharp private strategy raises tough questions about authenticity.
Have been worried, but Oprah, after all, was severely damaged by her interview. Her status for having allowed Meghan utter one lie after another, not challenging her as a fearsome interviewer, crashed after that interview.
Because she became a propagandist, didn't she?
Absolutely, and an accomplice to her lies. But also I think that they don't want to have someone who is going to detract attention, which is the very reason why Harry shouldn't be invited to the coronation, because he'll distract from the event.
Not all kindness is caught on camera, and not all cruelty leaves scars. Is Prince Harry the co-author of this story, or just caught in its plot twist? Tom Bauer suggests Harry hasn't just supported Meghan's narrative. He's adopted it, magnified it, and sometimes weaponized his own pain to validate hers. From Spare to their Netflix docuseries, Harry's accounts mirror Meghan's patterns. Vague accusations, emotional retellings, selective details. It's the fusion of two traumas, but also two agendas. Together, they've crafted a shared mythology, one that's both deeply personal and dangerously public.
But I think Meghan as well is very cleverly decided that if she disappears from view for a period, then when she re-emerges, she'll be unbelievably, sensationally attractive to people. What has she been doing? There's an art of mystery about it all. She's, after all, a Hollywood actress.
No, indeed, that's my theory on this too. I think, don't get me wrong, she knew that things around Spare were going to become very hot, and she thought, well, I'll let my husband take the flak for that. But actually, her disappearance is giving her more power in these negotiations that we believe are going on right now with the woke Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, who is on the behalf of Prince Charles, King Charles, trying to get them to the coronation. And I think Meghan's silence at the moment helps her, because it almost looks as if she's rising above it all, when in fact we know what she wants to do is negotiate concessions
Absolutely.
from the royal family, which is unbelievable to me.
Well,
Two wounds can tell the same truth, but still cut in different ways. If this breakdown's opening your eyes, here's your moment to go deeper. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who still thinks media narratives come without strings. Because sometimes the real story isn't in what they say. It's in what they strategically leave out. This approach helps him paint richer, rawer portraits, where praise isn't PR and wounds don't come with spin. If you want the full picture, follow the cracks, not the compliments. Can you rewrite your story without rewriting the truth? Yes, but only if you drop the script.
her silence is power. That's the whole point. And she's brilliant at freezing people out, as her father and many of her former relations have discovered. She's terrific at exercising influence by being invisible. She's not diluting in any way her importance by being away from the scene, and that is exactly what's happening, yeah.
Tom, I wanted to finish with a quick note on William and Kate, because the Princess of Wales specifically has hired this new woman, Alison Caulfield, to work as her private secretary. Now, this is quite an interesting hire, Tom, because this isn't necessarily a normal royal person. She's actually Jamie Oliver, you know, the celebrity chef, his ex-campaign manager. Now, we know with Jamie Oliver, he's got a real tradition of dominating the spotlight, running political campaigns. Is this sort of part of a fight back by Kate?
Well, I think it's a very clever programme, a strategy. Ever since Meghan hit the scene, Kate has had to revise her game. She can no longer be the sort of the docile middle-class shrinking violet. She had to appear good, she had to dress much better, to have better makeup, and perform better. And in the end, the royal family depends, its fate, much on Kate's performance and on her character and personality. She is a great woman and will become greater with age. So I think what she's doing is she's just developing. Rightly so. Rightly thinking, I've got to modernize, I've got to be young, I've got to appeal to people who are very dubious about the monarchy, not least because of Meghan and Harry's book and all the rest of it. And so I think she should be applauded for finding people who can advise her how to appeal to those who are dubious about the monarchy, who want to be reassured that the fate of the monarchy is in good hands. And that
Tom Bauer argues that Meghan still has a chance to reclaim public trust, but not through glossed-over documentaries or carefully guided interviews. What she needs isn't another Oprah moment. It's a raw, unfiltered sit-down with an adversarial interviewer. No bullet points. No handlers. Just the real mistakes explained. The public doesn't require perfection, but it can spot performance from a mile away. In a culture drowning in PR, unpolished honesty is revolutionary. Why do some narratives survive scandal untouched? Because identity is more powerful than evidence. Despite the claims, contradictions, and controversies, Meghan still commands a fiercely loyal base. Her fans see her as a symbol of resilience, feminism, and rebellion against elitism. For them, critiques like Bauer's only deepen their belief she's being targeted unfairly. Even Bauer admits this. When people pick a side emotionally, facts come second. When truth feels like betrayal, belief becomes the armor. Is this just celebrity drama, or a warning about our media age? Tom Bauer's critique isn't just about Meghan. It's about how influence is manufactured, how public empathy can be shaped with selective truths, and how platforms reward vulnerability, even when it's scripted. In a world where perception equals power, public figures aren't just telling stories. They're designing belief systems. When emotions become currency, truth must become your compass. So what did Tom Bauer really do? He didn't cancel Meghan, he audited her. Whether you see her as a misunderstood disruptor or a calculated media brand, his investigation forces one uncomfortable truth. Being compelling doesn't mean you're being honest. In a world shaped by clicks, charisma sometimes outruns credibility. But this won't be her last reckoning. Next up, we're breaking down how royal PR machines compare to Hollywood's spin playbooks, and which one still controls the world's headlines. Stay tuned.